So here's what went wrong with the career of Dolph Ziggler. I felt like three guys leapfrogged him. That was Enzo, The Miz, and Seth Rollins. Those three guys just had a better connection with the audience more than Dolph. It's like Dolph has not evolved in like 20 years. 15, 20 years, whatever, he hasn't evolved, right? He's the same Dolph from 10 years ago. That's not good. All of his rivals from 10 years ago, they have now all evolved. Dolph is still the same guy. The show stealer, right? He's the same dude that has not changed his character whatsoever. Now, here is the main issue. When Dolph was in NXT, he was being cheered, right? The crowd loved him because he's a big-time name in their eyes, because they don't see big-time stars often. But on Raw and SmackDown, bruh, nobody cares about Dolph. That's the main issue. I feel like people are over Dolph Ziggler based on the fact that this guy has not evolved. It's like, bro, you can't blame booking. It's like, this guy is a 5-time, 6-time IC champion, so you can't say, oh, he's being booked bad. No, bruh. Bruh, he wrestles every week. So you can't say he's being booked bad. You have to go by what the audience feels about you. Nobody cares about Dolph Ziggler. This has been that way for the past, 8-7 years. Multiple guys leapfrog Dolph on the card based on the fact that they have evolved and the crowd likes them more. Dolph is the same dude. It's like Dolph is the poster boy of being a complainer in terms of, yeah, I busted my ass. I deserve this. I deserve that. It should have been me. Vince don't see me as a top guy. I'm like, bruh, you are not a top guy anymore. But you can't blame Vince. You can't blame booking. You have to take full responsibility. Seth Rollins has evolved. The Miz has evolved. That's why the crowd likes them more. Look, it gets to a point where it feels like Dolph is a poor man's Miz. He's a poor man's Seth Rollins. That's why he's not booked as strong as he once was, because they feel like, okay, we have the Miz. We could use the Miz in multiple segments without actually wrestling. You can't use Dolph in multiple segments because Dolph is boring. The Miz ain't boring. Seth Rollins is not boring. Dolph is like a poor man's Seth Rollins. That's a bad thing because it feels like, okay, why should Dolph get a push when we have Seth Rollins? We have the Miz, right? The Miz has wider range than Dolph. The Miz don't gotta wrestle to get heat. Dolph has to wrestle to get heat because he's kind of boring. I feel like the past 10 years, Dolph has been exposed as a boring guy. Dolph hasn't had heat ever since he smashed Vicky G. It's like he is an example of don't be too loyal to certain companies. It's like, bro, it's not always a good thing to stay loyal to a brand. I felt like Dolph should have taken a route as Cody Rhodes did, which is leave. Leave for like 5-6 years, reinvent yourself, then come back. Just like Drew Mack, just like Jinder Mahal, just like Bobby Lashley. Reinvent yourself. How about you use a fresh coat of paint? Dolph is the same paint for the past 10 years. There's nothing that's changed about this dude, right? That's the problem. It's like guys like Daniel Bryan leapfrogged Dolph. Who else? Kevin Owens leapfrogged Dolph. Sami Zayn leapfrogged Dolph as guys who are not boring, guys who got wider range that you can use in multiple segments on multiple shows. What can we use Dolph for besides wrestling? That's the issue. He has no range. He's just, dog. Dolph is just a good wrestler. That's it. You can't use him for anything else besides wrestling. Bro, you are replaceable. But I don't think he realized that. That's the main issue. Now, back in 2012, 2013, he was hot. Right? He was in segments. He was hot. He was on Raw, SmackDown, tons of pay-per-view shows every week. He was hot. He was over. He was winning titles. People loved him. Now it's like, man, people see him as a guy that used to be good. Right? They see him as, I don't know, hardcore Holly. That's what he is. He's hardcore Holly now. He's I don't know, Val Venus, right? I mean the later stages of Val Venus, that Val Venus, right? Val Boski, he's that Val Venus, the one that's not over. It's like he's kind of past his prime, but he shouldn't be. It's like he ain't old, right? But dudes, like so many guys leapfrogged him on the card, but it's his fault. It's like, bro, you can't blame management. You can't blame Vince. It's like you have to look in the mirror, man. You can't just say, oh, I'm Dolph. I'm very, very good. I should be on top of the card. Nah, bro. This don't work that way. The main event scene does not work that way. It's like people look at Dolph as like, okay, what is he? Is he trying to be Dolph or is he trying to be Shawn Michaels? Right? You know what I'm saying? Nobody knows what he is. That's the main issue. People don't know whether he is Shawn Michaels cosplay or just Dolph. There was always that missing something with Dolph. It's like, I always felt like Dolph never had the it factor. I mean, he has a great look, but I don't know, he doesn't have that it factor. Like a Chris Jericho or a Miz or a Seth Rollins. It's like there was always something missing with Dolph. But the past 2 years, he has been exposed as a guy that just puts on good matches. He has no range. Man, I felt like Dolph ruined his own career. Because what if he would have followed the same path as Cody Rhodes? What if Dolph was in Ring of Honor, right? What if Dolph was in New Japan? What if Dolph was in All Elite Wrestling? What if Dolph was in the damn Bullet Club? Dolph would have been mega over. See, he passed on all these opportunities. It's like Dolph will be a bigger name. He will be a bigger deal. If he was to leave for 5 years and come back, Dolph would have been a top guy where Cody Rhodes is at right now. But Dolph is boring, man. It's like, bro, you have to go away so we can miss you. That's the main issue with Dolph Ziggler. We don't miss him. It's like, bro, it don't matter if you come back after 5 months, 4 months, it don't matter. You gotta leave for years, not months, years. Dolph, you gotta leave. Now, there was somebody that told him, why don't you go to AEW? And he told them, well, why don't you go to AEW? That was funny, but still. It's like, I would love for Dolph to go to Impact Wrestling. I would love for Dolph to go to New Japan. But man, he is so loyal to the WWF. I'm like, bro, that's for the birds, bro. They are not loyal to you. You are a job guy. You are a big name enhancement talent. I feel the Dolph, he is wasting his good years. It's like, bro, I don't want to see him in All Elite Wrestling. Not there. He fits more with New Japan. That's where he should go. Look, he needs a fresh coat of paint. Listen, when Dolph was in NXT last year, man, he was over. I'm like, bro, why would you leave? So I'm saying, like, that's a quick sample size of if Dolph was to leave for a different brand, he will be over based on the fact that people want to see the best for Dolph. Raw and SmackDown, bruh, that's for the birds, man. That's over. He needs a break. Either go to NXT or take your talents to New Japan. Because obviously, the crowd down in NXT, they love Dolph because they think of him as a big time name. So that makes sense. See, guys like Dolph, they need to be in front of eyes that don't see big time names very, very often. That's why Dolph got a huge pop down in NXT. That makes sense. But now it's like he's back on Raw and SmackDown. Like, bruh, nobody cares about Dolph on Raw and SmackDown. They are over him. But not in NXT. Listen, Dolph went from being with Bobby Roode to now he's with Mustafa Ali. That is a huge downgrade. That is a huge fall from grace, bruh. You went from being a world champion down in NXT to now you are a job guy with Mustafa Ali. It's like, man, it's like, you gotta leave, man. Dolph should have left 5 years ago. If Dolph would have left 5 years ago, he would be a big name right now. It's like, man, you have to leave it in terms of, look at Zack Ryder, now Matt Cardona, right? He left, now he's a brand new man. So I'm saying, Dolph is like, man, it feels like he's past his expiration date. I'm serious. Like, that gimmick, that character, bruh, that has been past his expiration date 5-7 years ago. It's over. I mean, you gotta reinvent the wheel. Reinvent yourself now. You gotta leave. Seriously. Dog, look at Chris Jericho. Right? I would love to see Dolph Ziggler in the Inner Circle. I would love to see Dolph Ziggler on Dynamite or Rampage. Maybe that will give him some more motivation. Something. Because look, nobody talks about Dolph. Besides this video, nobody talks about Dolph. But that's sad because he's very, very talented. Dolph has a Hall of Fame resume. But at a young age, Dolph is a job guy. Nobody takes him seriously, but if he were to leave for like 4 years, I'm telling you, he will come back as a main event guy. Listen, I don't think Dolph Ziggler loves pro wrestling. I think Dolph just loves the money. It's like, that's facts. I don't think Dolph really cares about being a main event guy. I don't think Dolph cares about being a big time star. He just likes the money. Facts. Because, man, it's been 15, 20 years, man. He's still with the same company. And yet, he's been a job guy for the past 6 years, but he don't care. He just likes the money. It's like, so it feels like Dolph has no intentions on leaving. Now, let's compare LA Knight to Dolph Ziggler, right? Listen, Knight should not win the Money in the Bank briefcase. And no, you can't compare him to Dolph Ziggler, and here's why. Dolph Ziggler was a multiple-time IC champion, right? He was a multiple-time champion. He was on shows every week winning matches. He was on pay-per-view. He had a big name. He was a rising star. He was young, too. That's the main difference. Knight is not that young, okay? Like, this is his first year on the main roster, and he's a loser on the main roster. So, Dolph and Knight do not compare. Never compare. Dog, Knight will be the next Damien Sandow if he were to win that Money in the Bank contract. That's my opinion. Look, man, People need to stop disrespecting the resume of Dolph. Dolph is a Hall of Famer based on his resume. Facts. So stop disrespecting Dolph Ziggler. There was a point in time where he was a main eventer. Knight is not a main eventer. It's like, man, like, why do people act like this guy been on the main roster for the past 5 years, bro? You kidding me? He has not. 1 year. No, not even that. He's been on the main roster for like 5 months, if that. So here's the main issue with Dolph Ziggler. He's too nice. All he cares about is the money. He don't care about his place on the card. And these are the facts. There's been too many guys that has leapfrogged him as better Dolph Zigglers, right? Even Adam Coleslaw leapfrogged Dolph Ziggler as a better Dolph Ziggler. That's the main issue. Sami Zayn, KO, The Miz, Seth Rollins, they are better versions of Dolph Ziggler. That's the main problem. So they feel like, okay, Dolph is he's pretty interchangeable, right? So they feel like, okay, Dolph is a job guy because the crowd don't pop for him, but they pop for Sami Zayn, KO, The Miz, Seth, but not for Dolph because Dolph is lesser than those guys. That's the main issue. But does Dolph still have hope? Yes, if he were to leave, right? He has to leave. He needs a fresh coat of paint, change your gimmick, change your character. Then leave for like 2 years. Then they will bring you back as a big deal. But right now, like, no, it's not gonna happen. Right now, Dolph is the Brooklyn Brawler. That's a bad thing. He's Doink the Clown. He is a high-class job guy. Listen, Dolph is a gatekeeper for bigger stars like Drew Mack, Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins, dudes like that. He's been used as a gatekeeper for a Kofi Kingston, dudes like that. And I feel like that's his fault. Because, man, it's like you have evolved, hence why the crowd does not care about Dolph Ziggler. That's it. I'm done.